Yeah. So, what caught your eye this past week?
Not as much as civil and sane as that one. I have to go right to just, I mean, the crazy story. It's probably a little old. I think it happened right after uh, us having last week's show, but that was this insanity. This is the teacher who locked her kid in the trunk while she's getting a COVID test because he's positive and she's trying to minimize her exposure,
Oh my
evidently.
gosh.
Uh, Talk about COVID derangement syndrome. So here it is. This is Houston. She's a Houston teacher. So this goes into my anti-teacher and anti-COVID hysteria. Her name is Sarah Beam. She's 41. She's a 10th grade English high school teacher. She's now facing felony child endangerment charges after she confessed at a drive-through COVID testing site that she was afraid her son was infected, and having him in the trunk would make limit her avoid her exposure. So what happens is she pulls in. He's 13, and the worker starts asking her probably different questions. Why do you think you have COVID? How long have you had symptoms? Those kinds of things. And then she's mentioned her son's whatever, and says he's in the trunk. And she does the right thing, of course, calls the authorities and, says you need to get him immediately out of the trunk, that kind of thing. So yeah, there was really a lot of news play for this, but this kind of went down my, this week's edition of sort of COVID derangement syndrome. So I assume you've seen this story by now, because I mean it's kind of ran a little bit, but
Actually, I first saw it on the website. So, hat tip to you.
Oh, well, thanks.
Yeah, it was. It's just more lunacy. It's like, what's wrong with you? You're going to treat your child like that?
Mm-hmm.
Over, I mean, she does
she's
look
only
like
41.
She doesn't
That's where
appear
to be in poor
right.
health, right? She's again, I can only make anecdotal analysis from the photos, right? We don't really know much about her health history. There's nothing in the article that indicated that she has some sort of comorbidity or health issue that we should be concerned about or anything like that. And the child's only 13, so he's not at risk. He appeared to be, healthy. He doesn't appear to, there was a statement at the end of the press releases about, he's in health, he's fine, there's no concerns or anything like that with his health. But yeah, that was my COVID derangement syndrome, which is a buzzword I'm going to. But I just can't imagine putting your kid in the trunk for any reason, let alone for something like this.
Yeah. And all right, so the COVID had probably no effect on him. But you're going to tell me this scenario is not going to be tattooed on his brain the rest of his life?
Well, she's in jail. Like she got arrested. She's facing a felony charge now, and I don't know how she gets out of it. I'm sure she can have a plea deal or something like that. I mean, I'm not a big fan of let's send someone like this to prison per se, but there's no reason to let someone like this go free for doing this kind of nonsense.
But
not sure she'd ever be a teacher again.
I mean, teenagers, this kind of stuff sticks with them. How's that going to affect? Yeah, how's that going to affect him as he becomes an adult? What's his trust going to be around adults, authority figures, or whatever?
Yes. Yeah. And what kind of imprint does that do for a female role model? That because obviously that's how boys determine their spouse. They look at their mother, and vice versa for girls looking at their father. So, you've imprinted this crazy. And again, obviously, this is not the first crazy irrational thing. If she's this unhinged, like I joked on Twitter, like if she's watching MSNBC, so if someone's this crazy and fearful, she put her kid in the trunk, who knows what kind of shenanigans this poor kid's gone through in 2 years with her hysterics over fear and all the nonsense that she's been going through.
Hey, we're News Talk with Brandon and Bob. We're here to tell you about some of the facts so you don't have to waste your time watching CNN.
We don't want you wasting any time with CNN.
Or Fox, or MSNBC, or some of these other guys that are making a whole lot of money.
Et cetera, et cetera.
He's not paying.